the committee's 38th annual commemoration of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. It is always a pleasure to see all of you here and to see that you continue to believe it's important to gather to celebrate the Reverend Dr. King's legacy and to ensure that his vision of a beloved community continues. As usual, we've gathered our local and state representatives. Thank you for being here to kick off Attleboro's remembrance of Dr. King. Unfortunately, the Triborough Youth Theater will not be able to join us today. The director, David Rioni, and several choir members are sick with the flu. Yeah. So in 1986, the third Monday in January was officially set aside as a day to honor the Reverend Dr. King and to reflect on the principles of racial equality and nonviolent social change. In the light of this, the MLK Committee chose as its theme for 2025, Shifting the Culture Through Nonviolent Action. With our nation and communities growing more divisive, often fueled by hate speech, with wars, poverty, and racism continuing to impact us, the committee felt it was a good time for our fellow community members to reflect on King's principles of nonviolence and how each of us can be cultural climate shifters for the collective good. So it is our hope that what each of us can garner here today is how we can be advocates for peace, starting in our own small spaces. So with that, we'll start our commemorative event with remarks from City Council President Jay Delicio.
Laurie, Ty. Good afternoon, and thank you all for making it out today despite the weather. Before we begin, I just want to take a second and thank the DPW and all the other city employees who worked hard through the night to ensure that not just the streets were safe, but we're able to be here today together to celebrate Dr. King's legacy. I'm honored to be here with you all today representing the Municipal Council. Before I get going, I've asked Vice President Dolan if she would read a citation from the Mayor. Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It starts with me. Shifting the culture through nonviolent action. January 20th, 2025. Whereas Martin Luther King Jr., born in Georgia in 1929 and following family footsteps into the Southern Negro ministry, became a crusader for the mid-century civil rights movement, turning local conflicts into moral issues and national concern. And whereas convinced that nonviolent resistance was the most potent weapon available to oppressed people in their struggle for freedom, Martin Luther King Jr. won the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize for his application of Gandhi's principles to the struggle for racial equality. And whereas one of Martin Luther King's last acts was fighting for environmental justice as he joined sanitation workers in Memphis to protest hazardous working conditions. Now, therefore, I, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor of the City of Attleboro, do hereby proclaim January 20th, 2025 to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Attleboro, and do urge all residents to be advocates for peace and to know that each of us has the power to use nonviolence to transform ourselves and our world. Signed and sealed this 20th day of January in the year 2025, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor.
One thing that makes Attleboro great is all of those who choose to serve our community. And what a better way to be a nonviolent advocate by serving your community. Whether you're elected or you volunteer, hundreds of our friends and neighbors have proudly chosen to sacrifice time with friends and family, nights and weekends to serve our community. And as Dr. King believed, everyone can be great because anybody can serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. He also believed you don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. Joined here today by Councilor Sawyer and Councilor Waterman, as well as Vice President Dolan. Thank you again to the committee. Oh, I skipped, sorry. Dr. King believed that anyone can serve their community. He believed that background and education shouldn't be an obstacle to serve, that we all have expertise or experience to help move our community forward. Thank you again to the committee for this opportunity. and to join with all of you here today in celebrating Dr. King's everlasting legacy of love, humanity, and service. I leave you all a question today to ponder. It's a question from Dr. King. Life's persistent and most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Thank you, and may God bless Attleboro, may God bless America. Stay warm, and in the name of Dr. King, take care of yourselves and take care of your friends and neighbors. Thank you.
Next will be State Representative Adam Scanlon.
Good afternoon. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all today as we celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The three words, or four words that Dr. King said that many of us resonate with are, I have a dream. And today, for too many Americans across this country, including here in Attleboro and in Massachusetts, that dream is still deferred on a number of different topics. We still have so much more work to do around economic justice. Today, the majority of our country's wealth is in the hands of too few. We aren't producing enough jobs for working class people. Too many single mothers and fathers out there are having a tough time putting bread and food on the table. We can do so much better as a society to grow manufacturing, to make investments in affordable housing. I'm so proud to be able to work with Jim Hawkins, who has been a champion for transportation justice. I think this is the year, or the next year, that we will fully reopen South Attleboro train station, and that is a tribute to you, Jim, and all of your hard work. We in Attleboro have made so many commitments to helping our homeless. I think of Senator Feeney and all the work that you did this past session to deliver the largest housing bill in the history of our Commonwealth, $5 billion going into housing. I myself cannot afford to buy a house in this region, and I'm, just one person. Think of everyone else. I'm proud that we are taking steps to put funding into housing production, to change the culture, and allow everyone to have a sense of dignity. In terms of environmental justice, the City of Attleboro, thanks to the Municipal Council's support and our Mayor's support, has done a tremendous amount of work on environmental justice. PFAS, often referred to as PFAS, are chemicals that are in our water. And I'm thankful to you, President Delicio, and all of our council members who have taken great steps to mitigate those chemicals in our water. We all deserve to have safe, clean, and drinking water. That's what Dr. King challenged us to do, and it's something that we will continue to have to meet the moment. The Constitution's first three words are, we the people. And too often we look on TV and we see people that don't look like us, that don't live in the type of houses that we live in, that drive different cars that we do. We can do better than that, and that starts with opportunity. Many changes are happening around the world right now, but that doesn't mean we have to change who we are. We can continue to be the City of Attleboro that supports all of its people, and I know we will, thanks to all of the dedicated people here today. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and it's been a pleasure to serve you. Thank you.
State Representative Jim Hawkins.
I am bringing paper with me, but don't think I'm going to give you a long speech. People like that I don't give long speeches. This is from Rabbi Talia, shared this from the Agudas Hakim this weekend. It's from a letter from Martin Luther King Jr. from the Birmingham jail in 1963. And he said, "Moreover, I'm cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We're caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anybody who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. And I think, as I think about, I was looking at the flyer, this is the 38th year we've done this, or you've done this, not we, but you've done, yeah. Looking at the flyer, and I think the thing that we need to realize, this is a difficult year politically. A lot of people are very unhappy on both sides of the aisle. What we need to do is be more active locally. And it's an institutional problem that it creates the continuation of racism. Is an institutional problem. We have problems with housing. You can't afford to live in the community you work in, and thank you, Rep. Scanlon. Being able to live in Pawtucket and work in Attleboro, or be able to live in Attleboro and work in Boston, is a key part of that. But there's also housing, and not just homelessness. We have some new homeless facilities, but not just that. We need to make housing more available to everybody on a statewide level, on a programmatic level, that we can make it so anybody can live in the community that they work in. We got a lot of work ahead of us, and I'm grateful to be able to work with Council President Delisio and the councilors in the room. I'm happy to work with Rep. Scanlon and Rep. Feeney, and together we've got some work to do, and we're ready to start for 2025. So thank you very much.
State Senator Paul Feeney.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to echo President Delisio's comments about our DPW workers and those that work throughout the night, making sure that the roads were paved and sanded and safe for everybody to come out today. I want to, first of all, just apologize for my voice. You may notice I'm a little hoarse. I did, just like the Triborough Theater folks, I spent a week and a half ago and a week ago sick with the flu. I'm no longer contagious or sick, but I did lose my voice, which I'm sure many will celebrate, actually. But for a guy like me, you know that this is very, very difficult when you lose your voice. But being back here with you, I didn't want to miss this. I didn't want to miss this. Following, first of all, my two great colleagues in the legislature, Representative Scanlon, Representative Hawkins, who do so much not only on behalf of the city, but people across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That type of action is needed in public service, folks in public service, where they see a problem, they don't just identify it as a problem, but then they work to solve for it. And certainly the two gentlemen you just heard from do that every single day, so it is a pleasure and an honor to work with them, as well as President Delisio, members of the Municipal Council. Local government is the hardest level of government. I know that from experience. You are the body closest to the people, but here in Attleboro, the people are lucky to have each of you. To our mayor, who obviously couldn't join us today either, but the work that she does in challenging times does not go unnoticed. It's great to be back together again, though, isn't it? To come here again in the 38th year, Ethel. Speaking personally, this event each year is always heartening to me. Your attendance and participation here does more than just lift me up. It reinvigorates me. It reminds me, quite candidly, it comforts me. In other words, I have a lot of expectations for you all, but you've continued to deliver. I trust that the power of our gathering, both here at City Hall and at the Centenary Methodist Church, has a similar effect on each of you. Think about that for just a moment. Just the act of coming together, of being with each other for just a part of our day, of lifting our voices together in song, which maybe somebody can lead us in song time, maybe you could lead us in song before we leave, or in prayer, or of listening, of reflecting, of thinking, of smiling, of loving. Just those simple individual acts, when done collectively, has the power to inspire our minds and strengthen our hearts. It is fitting that the occasion that gives rise to such power is a celebration of Dr. King, a man who understood what many throughout history failed to absorb, that power demanded or power commanded, power gained through coercion or subversion, power by way of violence and pain, power to satiate ego or for personal gain, is power without purpose and without value. Thinking a lot about power lately, leadership. Maybe I just got sentimental in taking my own oath of office earlier this year, but I've been thinking a lot about this. And looking to Dr. King, to Reverend King for his words. In his own autobiography, he said, quote, "Power, properly understood, is the ability to achieve purpose. It is the strength required to bring about social, political, or economic changes. In this sense, power is not only desirable, but necessary in order to implement the demands of love and justice." My friends, he understood keenly a truth of society, that the ability to change the face of things, to shape our world, to move hearts and minds, to deliver justice, and yes, to realize a dream, were only achievable through the power of a people, fortified by the love gifted by our Creator. He went on to say that, quote, "One of the greatest problems of history is that the concepts of love and power are usually contrasted as polar opposites." It's powerful. Love is identified with a resignation of power, and power with a denial of love. What is needed, Dr. King said, is a realization that power without love is reckless. Power without love is reckless and abusive. And that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice. Justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love. So not only does Dr. King remind us of the importance of nonviolence and the power of words in building power among people that wish to do good, of people that wish to shape society as Scripture teaches us, of people that celebrate individuals by respecting differences. He talks about the importance of injecting love in the application and execution of power. With that formula of peace and prayer, passion and purpose and love, Dr. King understood that justice can be attained, freedom delivered, and dreams realized. The thing is, my sisters, brothers, and siblings, it cannot be left to anyone else. I promise you. Look around this room. Look inward. It cannot be left to anyone else. The obligation is ours. Though the burden can feel heavy at times and the path ahead narrow, we can find strength in each other and for those of faith in the God of your own understanding. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So as we depart this afternoon, let's recommit to the values and ideals of Dr. King. Let us take on the burden for each other. You don't have to be in office. You don't have to be a leader in the community. You don't have to be a leader in the legislature. You don't have to be elected President of the United States or a United States Senator. You bloom where you were planted. You do it in your own house, in your own kitchen table, in your own workplace, in your own neighborhood, on your own street, within your own family. We bloom where we are planted. Let's take on that burden for each other. Let's be there for each other. Let's lift each other up. Let's light each other's candles, just as Dr. King instructed us to do. Let us continue to build a movement of power, not for power's sake, but as an instrument of peace, of justice, and of love. Let the teachings of Reverend King guide us. The gravity of our responsibility motivate us, and our love for each other continue to inspire us. God bless each of you. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Is there someone going to deliver a song? Well, because we don't have the Triborough Youth Theater with us, the program is a little bit shorter today, but I invite you to go to join us at Centenary United Methodist Church at 2 p.m. And so thank you. I thank you for your coming today. Thank you.